What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to make a tear-out gun bass out of a tiny little click. Some of the methods that I use in this are going to transfer over to other sounds, so you can use some of these techniques with other sounds to make your tear-out gun basses. With that, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off with this tiny little click sound. You probably won't be able to hear it just out of your cell phone speaker, but if you're wearing headphones or have some pretty big monitors, you should be able to hear this. But with that sound, we'll be able to make sounds like these. So just the mid to high end portion of your tear-out gun, we're going to start off by grabbing Simpler, chucking it onto this MIDI track. We're going to grab this tiny little Transient and grab it and bring it into Simpler by holding down the Option button and grabbing it and bringing it in there. So our MIDI track is armed. Let's make sure that, okay, we have MIDI. So I'm going to take the volume up to 0. I'm going to pull this release down. Also going to change this to one-shot mode, and I'm going to start transposing this down. Okay, so you can already kind of hear from right there, there's a little bit more of a tonality to it, but we're going to use a preset, a Corpus preset. Let's go to here. It's called Metallic Rezo. So we're going to grab this bad boy and chuck it in after. Now let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so we've definitely got some resonance and more tone out of that. All I'm going to do is pull this tune knob down. Let's go to A sharp. So now, what we're going to do next is add some dispersers. And then let's put them way up here. Something like that. I'm going to duplicate this one more time, and then I'm going to add this preset that I made for my OTTs. So this is my preset that I made from an OTT. All I did was added 6 decibels of input gain for each band. I changed the low frequency band to start at 100 hertz, and then the high band to start at 1666 hertz. So after that, put it on fully wet. It's a little bit louder now. I'm going to add some of the time knob in. Actually, all of it. Makes it a little bit more punchy. So next we're going to add a frequency shifter, and to do that I'm going to use the old one. Here is a pro tip: if you want to find the old school stuff, if you had Ableton 10, you can just go into the packs portion of your sidebar, type in Legacy, and then go to Core Library, Devices, Audio Effects, click on Legacy. Boom, there is Frequency Shifter. You also have the old phaser, the old redux, the old flanger. I myself still find myself using this old school frequency shifter. It's just more simple. I like it. So from here, let's just start pitching it down. Maybe even grab this guy. And let's just do around 400, and then I'm actually going to duplicate this over again. There we go. That's more of the range that I'm looking for. But let's just pull this frequency knob up a little. There we go. There's some more mids for us. And now I'm going to go ahead and use Echo Bode, which is one of my favorite plugins. If you don't have this, it's like $50, and I definitely recommend getting it. especially if you make Tearout. So every time you do have to initialize the patch, but it's not a big deal. So let's just start pulling up this smear knob. What it's going to do is kind of soften the transient a little bit. So right there sounds good to me. Maybe grab this wet, dry knob, give it like half. So we still have some of the original signal coming through. It sounds like crap right now, but I promise it'll get better. All right, so next what we'll add is a transient shaper. I like Kilohertz transient shaper. Simple and effective. So let's just add some attack to this. Just do, yeah, that sounds fine. And now after this, we're going to add some vocoder. Let's take this down to 4 bands. Let's put the depth all the way up. We're going to add a bunch of gain to it. Sounds like shit, I know. Add a little bit of tail. Pull back on the dry wet. And we're going to go up on the formant. And we're going to turn enhance off. Now that we've done that, let's add Convolver. That is a live plugin. So I have this set up to automatically open to the folder made for drums. And I'm going to go to the Metal Garage impulse response. And my decay is already pretty much where I like it, 471 milliseconds. And I like 76-ish on the size. Still sounds like shit, bear with me. I'm gonna pull the dry wet down just a little bit. Let's do like 50. And I should have a G clip on this already, but I don't. So let's do that now. We're gonna put G clip on, oversampling, softness all the way up. And now we are going to add a Pro Q. If you don't have Pro Q, you can just use an EQ8. Let's cut out some of these lows. Gosh, that is loud. All right, and now the secret sauce is if you have a Mac, you can use the AU Matrix Reverb. It is a horrible reverb, but in the best way possible. So this is the interface of it. What you'll notice is once we put it on, it's got a mixture of a large and small reverb. So what we're going to do is pull that all the way to the left, which is just going to be this small reverb portion right here, and get rid of this large reverb portion. Okay. All right, so we're going to pull this up just a little bit more, right about there. Pull this down some, about here. And there you go. You have your Tearout gun that we made out of a tiny click. Let's go ahead and just group all of this together so you can hear the difference. So that's with no post-processing. And here's with all of that post-processing. So these are all just a bunch of little things that you can do. I know it was a weird process, so thank you for sticking with it. But the main things that I wanted you to take away are using Corpus to get a resonance from the sound that gives it more tone. You can take transients from snares, from other drums, and chuck them into a sampler, or just slap, you know, this metallic reso preset on whatever sound you're using, and then dial it in with this tuning knob. Also mess around with this spread knob. Didn't really sound that great right there, but sometimes you can get some really cool tones out of that as well. And then don't be afraid to mess around with the frequency of the sound using shifter. If you are making a tear-out gun, using a transient shaper definitely helps give it that attack. And then vocoder is OP as well. You could use realistically any reverb here. I prefer convolver in this case. Kilohertz has a really good convolver as well. Other than that, the AU Matrix reverb is terrible, but in the best way. Pretty sure a lot of other Tearout producers use this one, but that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing, turning that notification bell on, liking, commenting, and sharing. It really helps me make more content like this, and it'll help keep you updated on when I post more of it. Thanks again. Have a great day.